Okay guys, under this subtopic, we will discuss on the development of tribunal in England. Okay, and this is a committee in England, okay, which had influenced the development of tribunals over there called the French Committee. And result from survey made by this committee had led the Parliament to enact the Tribunals and Inquiries Act 1957 that arranged the tribunal system in England. So in England, they are subjected to this parent act, Tribunals and Inquiries Act 1957. So all the procedures in handling the case, okay, in the tribunal will be referred to this act. And the committee had critically questioned, inter alia, the relationship between the tribunal and the administrative body. And they thought that the tribunal must be a body free and out of the concerned administrative machinery and not as part of the said machinery. So according to them, in order to be a member in a tribunal, okay, they will not allow an administrator to join them, okay, because they thought that, okay, in order to form a tribunal, it must be free from any administrative machinery. Okay, and then according to them as well, okay, the characteristic, they provide the characteristics of the tribunal. First, it must be conducted openly, justly, and neutrally. Neutrally means that it must against bias. Okay, justly means that it may reach the fair decisions. Okay, openly means that it's open to public, for example. Okay, so it must be open in that sense that proceeding must be published and so must be the grounds of the decision made. And then justice means the usage of clear procedures, okay, in order to avoid unjust. Okay, and then the tribunal is said to be neutral when it's free from influence of any department in making decisions in order to avoid bias. Okay, and then in making decision, okay, so they give the statements, okay, in a term of decision making, the committee had made certain suggestions. Okay, so first they will make certain suggestions. The appointment of chairperson and tribunal members, they must be appointed by the Lord Chancellor and not by any of the concerned minister. Okay, so minister cannot appoint the panels there, and this can lead to freedom being guaranteed. The committee also suggested that the members must possess law qualification to ensure neutrality, and the tribunal council will determine the types of qualifications. Okay, so first of all, they must possess law qualifications. Okay, so preference given to the lawyer. And other than that, okay, next point, the committee recommended that the tribunal's constitutions and management of tribunals to be checked by the tribunal council. So they request to have a tribunal council in order to check for the tribunal's constitutions and management. Tribunals in England have different constitutions with varieties of functions and procedures. So they must exist a working committee that examines certain necessities before a tribunal is about to be established. So before they form a tribunal, they need to consult with the tribunal council. They need to refer to this council first. And the committee acts as the advisor and it is subject to the supervisions of the Lord Chancellor. Okay, and then they also highlighted several functions, okay, based on the Tribunal Council. They highlighted several functions of the tribunal. First is to check the constitutions and the working of a tribunal, which are provided in the schedules of the Act, and from time to time make report concerning the working of any particular tribunal. So they will go for check the constitutions and the management of the tribunals in England, and then they consider and refer any matters related to other tribunals, and the council must be called to discuss before making any rules concerning tribunal procedures. So before the tribunal can release any rules, okay, they must consult with the council. Council here is coming from this tribunal council. Okay. And okay, this Act, okay, 1957 Acts here refer to Tribunals and Inquiries Act 1957 in England, has conferred power to the concerned minister to appoint the members of Tribunal Council. So take note, minister, yes, okay, minister can appoint members of Tribunal Council, but minister cannot appoint a panels of Tribunal. And the committee suggestions that the members of tribunal be appointed by the Lord Chancellor was not followed. Instead, the chairperson must be appointed amongst the panels listed by the Lord Chancellor. Okay, so in terms of the appointments of the panels for tribunal, it must be appointed by the Lord Chancellor. Okay, so in Malaysia, okay, there are three types of tribunals, okay, existed in Malaysia. First is Industrial Court, second is Income Tax Commissioner, and third is Public Inquiries. Okay, Industrial Court of Malaysia, okay, was established by the Industrial Relation Act 1967. So the procedures, the management of Industrial Court will be based on this act. Okay, so the purpose of this special court is to adjudicate upon disputes between employers and or their associations on the part and employees and their trade unions on the other, which have not otherwise been resolved by prior process of resolutions and settlement involving negotiations and conciliations. Okay, katalah, okay, earlier settlement of the problems, they might go to the negotiation process, okay, or conciliation. This is called as alternative dispute resolutions. Okay, tapi still tak berjaya, so dia akan bring the case to the industrial court. Okay, when they bring a case to industrial court, it may avoid industrial actions such as strikes or lockouts, which can disrupt the industrial peace and harmony in the country. And it is necessary to create these special courts to enable the workers to free themselves from contracts and obligations which were unfair and inequitable to them. So if the workers sign the contract and they think that okay, the contract was unfair against them, so they can take action in this special court, industrial court. Okay. And according to the Court Justice of Malaya at that time, 1982, in Hotel Malaya Berhad and another against National Union of Hotel, Bar and Restaurants Workers. Okay, Raja Azlan Shah described the functions of the industrial court based on section 30. This is where give the functions to the industrial court to make decision. Okay, so it exercises a quasi-judicial functions. It gives a full reason, a judgment in the nature of an award. So kalau industrial court buat decision, we call it as award. Its functions comprise of an investigation of the facts, analysis of the facts, findings, and lastly the applications of the law to those findings. So they will use this formula functions. The industrial court consists of the president of the industrial court and 3 other panel members representing the employer, employee and neutral party respectively. So there must be a neutral party. So dia tak akan sebelahkan mana-mana pihak sama ada employer or employee. So this talk about the compositions, okay, of the industrial court. The president is appointed by the YDPA and the minister concerned appoints the other panel members. Okay, and then the minister on the recommendation of the Director General refers a case to the industrial court after an attempt to mediate and settle the dispute failed. Okay, remember I told you just now, first in early settlement dia bawa case tu ke mediation, okay, or conciliation, negotiation, but still not success. So they proceed to take action in industrial court. And the minister may refer case on his own initiative, and both the employer and employee can be represented by any union officials or lawyers with the court's consent. So kalau you nak bawa lawyer, there must be a court consent. Court here refer to industrial court consent. Okay, in terms of proceedings, okay, proceedings are carried out by the presidents, okay, who will chair the hearing. Regards have to be made to any statute provisions and regulations. And the rules of natural justice must be observed by the industrial court when making decisions. Hope that you guys still remember rules of natural justice, which can be divided into two: audi alteram partem, rights of hearings, and then rights against bias, nemo judex in causa. So industrial court must follow these rules. And decisions are reached by a majority of the panels. If there is an equal vote, the president may give his vote in order to come to a final decisions. And the effects of a decisions is that it binds the parties and the decision can be challenged to High Court on the point of law. So kalau still rasa not satisfied with the decision made by the presidents, made by the panels in industrial court, so you may continue to challenge the award. Okay, you can challenge the decision to the High Court. Bawa lah ke Superior Court.